Hit the button.
Good morning.
We're live.
We're live with Scotty Brizzle. I'm totally fangirling right now.
Testing. All right, good. I'm going to go live on my AMT.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. This is incredible. It's about time we got here. It's about time.
It's about time.
Wait a minute. Wait. Who's this?
This is Scotty.
Oh, man.
He's from Mars.
It's all red. Scotty Brizzle. I mean, he's amazing. And I've been watching his craziness that somehow eating meat is better for us than anything else in the world. Scotty.
Sounds wild. What a wacky idea, huh?
What are you doing?
Do you know what? I feel like for me, I had to get caught up in the mainstream medical system and the pharmaceutical drugs hamster wheel. And then you stay on that until you realize, you're just going to keep going around and around and around until you want to jump off. And you've got to do something extreme like eating only meat that actually works. Okay.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
So we're really grateful to have Scotty here today, and maybe Scotty could just give us a quick intro to who he is, what's he doing, why is he doing it, and we'll go from there.
Beautiful. And I just want to quickly address this red light is because it's 9 p.m. here in beautiful Australia, and look, circadian health first, guys. So I bet I'm sure it's very hard on the eyes. So
it looks fine. It totally is fine for us.
Beautiful. I feel like it brings out the best side of me, really, to be honest. But no, I'm Scotty Brizzle, and as I just said, I sort of got caught up in the mainstream medical debacle of trying to figure out what my issues were. So I grew up on the standard Western diet. I didn't have parents that were educated in a proper human diet and a species appropriate diet. And we didn't know what real food was. And so that was my entire upbringing. And then I sort of got to my early 20s and things just started to go wrong. So I thought, plant-based, that's what I should do. And I did everything I was told to do. I was majoritarily plant-based. I avoided red meat to maybe once or twice a week because I didn't want to get colorectal cancer. I didn't want to get heart disease from high LDL cholesterol. I was scared of all these things. So I went down this naturopathy path and I was having supplements galore, spending thousands on supplements. Nothing would really work. So I'd go from doctor to naturopath to naturopath to specialist. And nobody really had answers. It was just a mysterious thing where they would say, IBS. Oh, it's just IBS. Immune issues can be very, very elusive. So, but all you need to do is just have these vitamins and supplements and minerals and all these sorts of pills, have this medication, and that's just what you're going to have to do. Don't change your lifestyle. No, don't change your lifestyle or the food you're putting into your body. So I did that for years and years, and it got to the point where I was debilitated. I got down to 48 kilos where I was wasting away, constant diarrhea, constant gut issues, constant skin issues, joint issues, mental health issues. It was just an array, a tsunami of all these issues that I thought, well, maybe this is how everybody lives, because that was my reference point. That was where I thought life was. And it wasn't until I heard about this wacky meat diet that is very becoming quite popular now. It wasn't until I heard about this crazy meat diet that I resisted for a good couple of years. I'm like, I heard Sean Baker in 2017 talking about this, and I'm like, who'd want to do that? How am I supposed to have my cookies and my chips and my brownies and all the deliciousness that I have most days? And it took me until I hit the wall. I had no other option. And it was Michaela Peterson that was actually the one that pushed me, because I could relate so much to her story, that got me onto doing this carnivore diet. And I was only going to do it for a month. That was it. 1 month. This crazy meat diet, I'll heal everything in a month. I got to the end of that month and I got a reference point of how good I could feel. I actually had an idea of what health was. And I thought, wait a second, this is actually pretty good. I might just try it for 90 days, just 90 days, 3 months, and that will be it. So I do it for 90 days and I say, look, all right, that's it. I had a coconut water, 2 pieces of sushi, just rice and avocado with the nori roll. The next day, joints inflamed, skin's flared up, gut distress. I felt so foggy in the brain. And I thought, you know what? That's it. I'm done. And here we are over 2.5 years later doing basically a lion diet. And I feel incredible. And there's no going back. There's no going back.
So what's the drive to share it with others? Why not just do it and be quiet?
Because I got pretty upset with the mainstream medical community, the legacy media, government guidelines, nutritional recommendations. I got quite upset that this wasn't even an option, that this wasn't even presented to me as something to try. A vegan diet, vegetarian, that's an option. They talk about that. They say you could go plant-based, but it's not even talked about. It's not even discussed. It's actually avoid it. They try to get you to avoid it because it's dangerous. And so I wanted to just tell people through making this content that it's an option. All right. It's an option. And if you feel like your back's against the wall and that you've tried every possible thing, maybe just try eliminating plants and processed foods and just try eating meat for a few months. Just try it. What's the worst? What's the worst that can happen? And then here I am a few years into making this content and meeting amazing people like yourself and learning so much. So,
and I have to add something. One of the reasons I'm on carnivore is I was YouTube surfing, and Scotty was one of the people that I found, and your story was so inspiring because a lot of what you were saying was resonating. Not able to sleep, the gut issues, the back issues, or I don't know, you had back pain. Anyways, whatever you were saying, it was like very much resonating. And I'm like, so it was one of the people. It took many people to convince me, but I remember your story specifically. So
that
awesome.
means a lot because that's the whole point of this, you know. And it's like what you say, Dr. Kills. All we're doing is trying to help others, and you put the word out, and you're going to face scrutiny, you're going to face criticism, you're going to have, I guess, certain people coming at you, but this is a part of the job description. This is what I've signed up for. So bring it on because people need to hear about this.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about the environment you're in and how you've been able to attract others in the space of carnivore and how it's just sort of rising the tide.
Well, so there was, it's probably the video that we were just talking about that a lot of people seen. It sort of went viral on YouTube. I had a few people in the community reach out to me and just say, like Simon at How to Carnivore, one of the guys that are just leading the fight in this this way of eating. And he invited me onto his podcast with himself and Dr. Anthony Chafee. And then so I got to meet those guys, and then that podcast gets out there, and then I keep making content. And then this other influencer or this other doctor or this other nutritionist, and they kept coming in. And then here I am collaborating with amazing people like yourself, Dr. Kiltz. And by the way, I just want to say thank you very much for that, because if it wasn't for people like you, Rob, some of us like content creators that are trying to get this word out wouldn't be getting the reach we would if it wasn't for you, collaborating, because I see you do it all the time with many people, and it means the world because we want our stories to be heard.
Well, I appreciate you saying that because I think the stories that people are sharing are critical. And is one story enough? And I say the answer is yes. Your story is critical. And so everyone that's listening, watching, your story is critical here. And like Scotty says, if you haven't given at least a month on carnivore, you don't know what you're missing. Mm-hmm. And do we need to wait for mainstream science and medicine to catch up? Or do you think actually they have a mission not to?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I 100% think so, because how is the pharmaceutical cogs going to keep running if people don't need to keep going to their doctor and getting their medication, if they don't need to stay on the hamster wheel that I was talking about, if they're just going to the butcher or the local farmers markets and their medicine is food, it's the whole system's going to crumble, because it is built on sick people. A patient that is gone, they can't make any money. They don't make any money on that, but they need sick people, so they keep us between not dead, but not really alive, and they keep us in this little middle part just so we rely on them, but not be able to thrive.
You know, it is interesting that, and I'm in standard medicine, and I was actually a nutritional biochemical chemistry major in undergrad. And I think, you know, people say, well, doctors aren't trained in nutrition, but in fact, they are. They're trained in the wrong nutrition, and so are nutritionists. Do you have these same issues in your part of the world where the nutritional science is actually giving us the wrong information?
100%. It's still, you hear from the mainstream health officials, the diet guidelines and the recommendations that you need to limit your red meat because it's a cause of chronic disease. And they're even talking, this is a ridiculous one, that a carnivore diet or eating red meat will lead to diabetes. That just blows my mind, because it's the exact opposite effect. Insulin goes down, glucose goes down, and like for me, I'm in a pretty consistent state of ketosis, nice therapeutic ketosis, and they're saying that is dangerous. It blows my mind. Like, I just got my blood work done yesterday, and my GP, who I respect, but they're not my doctor. I just wanted to get some blood work from them. My LDL was high. And straight away, oh, that's a concern. That's a high LDL. That's a concern. But I was like, oh, but how come? Like, if you look at the triglycerides, they're quite low, and the HDL's quite higher than the triglycerides. So, do you reckon we could be maybe focusing on that ratio? But no, the LDL is a concern. We need to come back and get updated blood work to see, because potentially statins. And then that's when Lipitor makes some money.
How many papers have been written on the science of lipidology? And it seems like it's like a crystal ball where someone is sort of behind a curtain, like trying to convince us with all these bells and whistles that there's truth to it. Mm-hmm. And when in fact it's all made up. And I question all science, all of it. I'm not even sure I can believe even all the carnivore science. Mm-hmm. I think there's some questions here that we're just too willing to accept this science and then, well, not this. But maybe all of it is leading us down the wrong road. The question is sugar critical for your metabolism? It is, but in ways we don't even talk about. Mm-hmm. And someone sent me a message this morning. Bart, I think someone with Bart sent me a message about the glycobiome. I mean, how many people talk about the glycobiome?
I've only heard you talk about the glycobiome.
And yet the plants on the earth are the most critical part of the earth. And the sugars on our skin, on our cells, are more critical than anything we know, but nobody's talking about it. Mm-hmm. Do you ever wonder about that? Like what is mTOR? I mean, do we even really know what it really is? Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think that the simplicity of carnivore is eat fatty meat, and you know, why should we eat like a cow? They're trying to convince us to eat like domesticated animals, are they not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are things that you can share with those that are listening and watching? How easy it is to step into the carnivore lifestyle?
Look, it's hard if you're addicted to sugar and refined carbohydrates like I was, you're going to have a hard time doing that. And the payoff for that is tenfold. If you've just got to spend a week going through all these cravings and you know, you want the bread or you want the cupcake or you want the brownie, if you can just get through that, that's the worst. Because someone said to me, with carnivore, aren't you worried about the no fiber thing? Like, what if you get diarrhea? And I said, mate, I've had diarrhea for the past year, eating a whole foods diet, and this wasn't like, sure, I'd have the junk, but majority of my diet was big salads with spinach and kale and plenty of onions and plenty of garlic, and I had lots of nuts and seeds. I would have all these sorts of things that was just constantly causing me issues, but that was supposed to be the good food for me. So I just kept eating more of it because I'm not having enough spinach. I'm not having enough spinach. I'm not having enough kale.
And all the dressings that go on the salads. I used to use balsamic vinaigrette, which was sweet, and all the little craisins and all those sort of things, the seeds and nuts and the spinach. And I had kidney stones for years and bowel bleeding for years. Not one doctor ever asked me, can you tell me a little about your diet? I said, I'm Mediterranean. I eat a healthy diet. When we label something healthy, we should run.
Oh yeah, 100%. And that's why I thought doing this healthy thing was going to make me better, but it made me worse. And so I couldn't figure it out. So then it's like, well, maybe let's give this carnivore thing a go. And you know what? As I said, after that first week, the cravings, maybe 2 weeks, the cravings disappear and it starts to become normal. Sure, it's hard going out and eating with friends and stuff like that. That can be a bit of an adjustment, and that did take a while because that was very important to me, to share a meal with my friends. And I didn't want to be the weird guy that was either he already had his steak, so he's come to the restaurant to sit there and drink a glass of water, or at a party and I've got a steak on a plate and everyone's asking, where's the sides? Are you not going to have this kale salad that goes on the side? Like, what's the coleslaw? You're missing the coleslaw there, And so these things were sort of hard to overcome, but they're manageable. And you don't know what you can sort of overcome unless you're faced with it. And being that weird guy at the party also invites the right people in to say, how come you're doing that? Oh, actually, I have some similar issues. Oh, okay. Maybe, do you have any resources that you could show me or send me? And then this leads them on. This gives them the little breadcrumbs or the little steak crumbs. Sorry. And that leads them. That leads them to, and I've got friends that are still carnivore that I helped get there through being that weird guy. So I think if you can just get through the cravings, being the weirdo, that's basically it. Because my favorite food to eat is fatty red meat, and I never get sick of it. Ever. I crave my next fatty steak, So people that say that's such a boring lifestyle, I've never been more satisfied in my life eating only meat.
And I don't know the numbers, but I think we're seeing an uptick in carnivores, or they're on the rise. We're returning back to the lion's den instead of hanging out in the pig's pen or the sheep herd. And the change. Here we got True Wings. I have friends talk about their health issues, followed by, I know how to eat healthy. Even some that back it up with the nutritional educational background. They don't want to believe what I'm doing is worth it, right? So we're waiting for science. And I even say in the carnivore world, we've already got the science, because your story is more powerful, the N of one. And then as we begin to see the crowd coming together and realizing that we eliminate all the toxins that are in plants. And the last I looked, does a plant want to be eaten, Scotty?
It wants to live like all of us. It has its own little insidious defenses that are against us, you know, because it wants to live, but it can't run away. So it's a very intelligent plant that, you know.
And in fact, when a plant is eaten, it is not dead because it's going to either wait for you to die or kill you or become your poop and the fertilizer. So it's never dead. Mm-hmm. That's the amazing story about plants. They're highly intelligent, as you've spoken. And so we somehow walk around this world like we're the most intelligent. Would you really get on a rocket and go to Mars? I mean, is that like dumb?
It's dumb.
I'm fine. I'm good here.
Dr. Kiltz, we have a question for you, and then we have one for Scotty.
Yeah.
Emma, hi from Ireland. Could I ask Dr. Kiltz a question? I'm 37, trying for a baby. My ultrasound showed a thickened endometrium, and I'm also anemic. Will carnivore heal my lining?
Well, carnivore will reduce the inflammation in your gut. And interesting enough, the inflammation in your gut, the colon, the bacteria, yeast, and viruses are proliferating, and they go right out the back end. And for women, they crawl right into the vagina. So it's like a huge number of soldiers on the microbial side that basically want to take you down. They want to kill your egg, sperm, embryos, and you. So by going carnivore, fatty meat, really critical fatty meat, the fat kills the microbes, and it's the healthiest thing you could eat. And absolutely, I've seen the uterine lining like spark up, and I've seen pregnancies happen, even with bad sperm, bad eggs, bad embryos. And if you haven't read, this is one of my favorite books, The Relationship of Alimentation and Disease by James Henry Salisbury, steak dude. Dr. Salisbury, who graduated Albany Med in 1850s, went on to the Civil War where his men were dying of dysentery and pneumonia. And absolutely, I mean, ultimately, so many men and women are suffering from reproductive disorders on the rise. And it's secondary to that healthy plant-based diet that Gates and others around the globe want you to eat in order to control your pocketbook, take your money from cradle to grave. They've got us and beyond, don't they, Scotty?
It's honestly, it's the most perfect business plan. It's brilliant. It's genius.
Do you have anything else to add to that about reproduction?
It's all you, Kiltz. That's out of my realm.
Your periods will get remarkably better on carnivore. But what about anemia? Can eating steak help anemia?
Oh, well, anemia is caused by inflammation. Remember, the cells that make red blood cells and every other cell of your body are damaged secondary to inflammation everywhere.
There you go. And this is for Scotty, but you want to play a song first?
Yes.
Scotty Brizzle is a master man. He's simply teaching all the man. Carnivore cures where plants will kill. I know it's crazy. Listen to Dr. Kiltz.
Oh, God bless you, Dr. Kiltz. God bless.
Oh, bless you, bless you. What is Rahman? Observe testosterone change on carnivore. What do you think, Scotty?
So I got my bloods done, as I said the other day. I don't know why I didn't, because I guess I didn't know what to get measured at the start, but I didn't get my testosterone done. But the GP was looking at my testosterone, and it's at the higher upper ends. I can't remember the number it was, but she's like, your testosterone's absolutely fantastic. Mm. And I feel like it probably would have been low because I had a very low sex drive, tired, lousy, fatigued all the time. I feel like it would have been quite low muscle mass. I am a small guy, but man, can you imagine me like 12 kilos lighter than I am now? Like
that's crazy.
Ridiculous,
Well, okay, so my vitamin D and testosterone are in the toilet. I neither have rickets, and my sex drive is plenty ample. Okay, And so I still think the levels and the numbers are snake oil, trying to trick you to believe, oh, your numbers are bad. Now, remember, who controls the labs? All right.
Where do they get that reference range from?
Well, even remember, it's sort of like you're going somewhere to get a number and trusting that that number is going to come out and have any real truth and meaning, when in fact, the pharmaceuticals, the medical community, and the laboratory testing community. I mean, whatever happened to Theranos? Isn't she in jail for trying to test our blood? Right? That's too. What other animal says, wait a minute, I got to get my labs before I know how much meat I eat or grass and grains, right?
Yeah. I loved when I messaged you the other day when I was on my 3-day fast, talking about, oh, Dr. Kiltz, my blood glucose levels and my ketone levels, what should it be? And you're like, what are you measuring it for anyway? just fast. You're going to be fine.
But that is, so someone was like, oh my God, my glucose went up and my insulin went up. Well, when you eat sugar or protein, it's supposed to go up in order to convert it to fat in the liver. This idea that you've got a faulty insulin is bullshit. Insulin has one job: make fat in the liver. That is it. We've made this huge science out of, it's called theoretical science. Remember, a PhD candidate or an MD candidate must publish something in order to look as if they have any sense of intelligence in their particular community. Correct? I don't know. It's sort of like eat the meat, go do a blog and tell everyone about it, right?
We don't have to overcomplicate it. Move a little bit, eat fatty red meat. Like I get a lot of questions through Instagram, and a lot of people ask, like, but the ratios, how much meat and how many times a day? And the only answers I've got is just very straightforward, very basic, very simple. And it's like, eat when you're hungry, and you'll know if you eat too much fat. If it's too much, pull it back. And it's like your body tells you. If we can learn, I'm glad I got to learn to listen to my body being sick. I got very good at listening to my body. So if you can just listen to your body, it will tell you. You don't need a test to tell you if you're okay. And like as you're saying, Dr. Kiltz, fatty red meat is all you need.
And tell me a little bit about your fasting, and how do you feel on these fasting times? And do you think it's something we should all be doing?
100% we should all be doing, because the only thing that stopped me was fear. And that's even as a carnivore, my first 3-day fast, I was like, oh no, but I've got to eat because, I'm only like quite small, and I don't want to lose all this weight that I've already put on and da. But when I pushed through those anxieties, I actually felt incredible. I felt fantastic, and I felt better not eating. I had more energy. My workouts were a lot more improved, and I was always switched on, very sharp. But the only thing, when I would try and go to sleep, my body was like, what are we sleeping for? Let's get up and go. Let's go. What are we doing? Let's go celebrate. Let's go party. What are we doing? And I struggled to sleep on the on a 3-day fast. But I'd wake up and I wasn't tired the next day. I just had energy up to wazoo. It was mind-blowing.
Do you think that napping is something that lions do a lot?
Oh, get the naps in. Get the naps in. Why do we think as an adult, it's a bad thing to do? No. Like, listen to your body. If you're feeling tired, 5 minutes. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. That's all it takes. And you can have a few of those throughout the day. I think it's, look, I'm pro napper right here. I'm pro napper.
Right. So your dog and cat, like, they take every opportunity to nap, and we're just grasping for an energy drink, which is another deadly toxin that we're all throwing around this world. What are your thoughts on coffee and tea and energy drinks in general as healthy for us?
Look, I haven't had an energy drink for years, but I remember I lived off them when I was skateboarding as my teenage years, and it just anxiety through the roof, big spikes, big crashes. It just sort of provided, and I thought I was going to have a heart attack one day because I drank like 3 or 4 Red Bulls in sort of one go, and it was very unpleasant. Teas, never been a big fan of. Coffee, every time even like these days, if I introduce it back into my diet, I feel the problems instantly, and sometimes I wear it on my face. I get perioral dermatitis that comes around like sort of these areas on my face. And like my skin tells me, it's like, this isn't something that we should be consuming. And when I'm off coffee and my energy levels are normal and my energy levels are natural, it's just, like, I don't know, this caffeine roller coaster we get on, it's a trap. It's a trap,
It's another, don't talk to me until I have my coffee, or I've got to have my coffee. I mean, we're just as diatribes of addicted robots that they've convinced us. And I mean, I'm a coffee crazy man. I love coffee. I've been off of it. I was off of it in 23. I went back on it in 24 for a month or two, decaf, and then back off it again. And really, it's quite amazing how great I feel. It's food freedom. And that's why fasting, I think 2 to 3 day fasting every month. I do a 5 to 7 day fast quarterly. I think it's great. I have not done more than a 2 day no water, a sort of a dry fast. I don't know what your thoughts on dry fasting.
I am so interested in dry fasting because I've never done that before, but I know of many people that do. And a guy on Instagram, Life Like Jake, he did recently 7-day dry fast, and he showed that this was possible. And he was explaining how the water in your body that your mitochondria that your cells create, that's what was hydrating him. He didn't need to have an external source of water. And people just, you're going to die, man. Like what, 3 days, and you're going to die of dehydration. He got to day 3 and he said he felt incredible. Doesn't feel thirsty. He didn't have a shower. He didn't brush his teeth. He didn't get anywhere near water or put it on his skin because he wanted to show that you didn't need it. And 7 days, he smashed it. I just couldn't believe it. I thought that was incredible.
Yeah, no, I think Jake's amazing. Life like Jake, radical superstar, really teaching us a lot. And I think that's the beauty of this community. People are doing things that we don't or didn't believe in, and they're like so breaking the mold of all this, like, right, this is, you can't do that. And every protein, every amino acid attached to a short chain becoming a long chain amino acid, a protein, makes water, along with acetyl-CoA from fat that makes water, ATP, and CO2. So your body makes water all day long. That's the amazing part, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's incredible.
We have a question. Dr. Kiltz, what hormone is released when a baby is born? In the baby or in the mom?
Well, oxytocin, it's like they're getting those cramps going, but I'm not sure what that is, Lisa. I don't know. It's, interesting enough. Remember, so moms in general are eating a high sugar diet, high plant-based diet. So they have a high insulin level, but those babies, remember, all the sugars are going across the membrane, and so the babies have a lot of insulin. Now, suddenly what happens when they're born, right? The babies don't have very much. Their glucose levels drop because they have a high insulin level, and now we treat them right away with sugar, and we start the addiction the moment they're born.
That's so crazy.
Sugar.
That's so crazy.
Oh, it is. It is. It is. Fasting, relaxing. I think it's one of the very best things. They want to keep people confused. Science, that medication, it's all snake oil science to keep us weak and meek. So the people who control the message and the money control the science. Wouldn't you say, though, that through social media, we're changing the game, Scotty?
Oh, 100%. Social media, podcasts, this is where this change has happened, and we see that with figures like Joe Rogan, where I remember watching his podcast 10 years ago, and they're just on the couch smoking weed, talking about, dick jokes or something. And now he's revolutionizing the political game. He's changing so many aspects that we just couldn't even imagine. And all it is people being drawn to that through social media, through the internet, through these platforms. And because there's a curiosity that's being hit in all of us, and it's lighting us up. And some of us maybe don't know why, but we're drawn into it. And perhaps it's the truth. Perhaps that's what we're stumbling across, the truth. And we've got the freedom to do that through social media now.
And I always say, don't believe a word I say, because there's only one person in the universe that could really determine what's best, and that's you. And so if you want to keep on buying the whiskey, wine, beer, all the alcohol, the caffeine, the energy drinks, and smoking marijuana, like even the American College of OBGYN says that wine is good for pregnant lactating women. Is alcohol good for anyone?
No.
That's insane.
It's deadly. It's deadly. So I don't know. Is Coca-Cola and Pepsi and all these other drinks good for us?
There's no way.
And so we're basically we are not addicted, but we are not addicted. We live in an environment that basically says, hey, this food is here today. It might not be here tomorrow. And so if there's a bush of berries that are sweet and you walk right past it, that's dumb. 50,000 years ago. Right? But in general, like, when was the last time someone probably dropped dead of an allergic reaction to a ribeye steak?
It's unheard of, unless it was injected with all this mRNA vaccination. If maybe of that was some lab grown meat, perhaps.
Well, why? So real quick, Kathleen Lamb. So Mighty Tribe is here. I've got Instagram here, Dr. Kiltz, and also we have YouTube, Facebook, and I really appreciate everyone being here, sharing your stories, asking questions, commenting. Alia, we're working on a daily prize on YouTube, Facebook.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, we are. We're working on it.
We're going to get it working right for everyone. But Kathleen Lamb says we don't need vitamin D. D is actually a hormone. There's a Harvard study proving the body can't even utilize more than a number of 21 when it comes to D. I mean, if you read all supplements, there's a statement that says the FDA has not quantified the statement here, qualified it, and this cannot be used to cure any ailments or diseases. So, what animal says, did you get your vitamins and minerals today?
The sun. That's where you get your vitamin D. You get the sun because it's not the same as a supplement. Taking a supplement skips all these beautiful pathways that the sun, how it interacts with your skin and strikes your eyes. It goes through the correct pathways to get us healthy. And they've already shown that people that have supplemented with vitamin D, where sunshine vitamin D can resolve certain chronic issues, it's not the same when it's taken orally as a supplement, because it is not the same thing. And you can have a look at the back of these supplements like the vitamin D, and you'll see that there's a vegetable oil carrier in there, and it's like, I thought this was supposed to be healthy.
But ultimately, the story of our human evolution is that we came out of the trees to eat the grass eaters, not the grass. And we're really good at hunting like wolves and lions, And that's who and what we really are. And so what we're doing is they're inviting our brothers and sisters back to the lion's way, back to something that is more traditional to our ancient cave life, the Clan of the Cave Bear. If you haven't read it, it's a really good book. And ultimately, we've just become domesticated animals. So if you feed a lion and a wolf plants, they become domesticated dogs and cats. Ultimately, the pharaohs and the ancients realized if I feed them bread and beer, they will do everything and anything for me, including fight major wars and do dumb, stupid things. And so we're just slaves, soldiers, peasants, and prisoners. That is it.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yeah.
Dr. Giltz, we have a few more questions. I think this is for Scotty. Jimbro, how many years have you been carnivore? Do you have cheat days?
No, not since I had that. As I was saying before, I had those 2 pieces of sushi and coconut water at month 3. I haven't had anything else since then. Maybe once in a blue moon, I've had like a vodka and soda. I'll have a few mouthfuls. I get headaches. I feel sick. I'm like, well, I'm not drinking. So alcohol is just a no-go for me. But I've been, strict carnivore for a bit over 2.5 years now. So, and no looking back, because as I said at the start, I finally have a reference point of how good I could feel. So why would I want to go back to that? Because I've got a lot of friends that say they want to do carnivore to heal themselves so then they can go back to eating all the crap. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense to me, but you're also not going to want to go back after you realize how good you can feel. Right. And because I do have some friends that will still have, do you guys have Hungry Jack's in over there?
No.
So, well, it's a burger place. And a friend that does carnivore, he pigged out on like burgers and chips and all that sort of stuff. And he said like it hits him so much harder now since he's become carnivore. Like he's so sensitive to these poisons that he's ingesting, but he still does it. So he hasn't quite learned yet.
Well, it is possible. You see, so meat contains sugar. Mm-hmm. Do people know that? And so does fat contain sugar. Mm-hmm. All cells of all organisms contain sugars, the glycocalyx, the glycobiome. Without sugar, we're dead. And so if people understood that sugar is in everything they eat, but plant sugars in general are highly antigenic. That means they cause allergic reactions. Plus, the last I looked, heroin, cocaine, marijuana, nicotine, caffeine, and cyanide are in plants, not in meat. Mm-hmm. Now, it is possible that some organisms contain some toxins that are in the animal world, including a cow can eat toxic plants and concentrate it in their milk, and humans can become diseased and die. And so this is something people don't realize. If you look at the United States Department of Agriculture's Journal on Plant Poisoning, and also another book that I keep close at hand, Most Delicious Poisons by Noah Whiteman, that ultimately the plants make the poisons, and we have to, we can be contaminated even if we eat an animal product in some rare cases. So that's something that people need to realize. Richard Hepburn, hello. Let's see. Carnivore helps with lymphedema. Yes, carnivore helps with everything. It reduces inflammation. It may allow the lymph system to regrow like the capillary system can regrow in times of inflammation and damage. What causes cancer?
Sugar.
Plants, basically. Yeah. No, plants. Do viruses cause cancer? Yes. Bacteria, yeast? Yes. Well, how do they get in our body? Because they love plants too. And so we eat a high plant-based diet. They flourish in our gut, and they grow everywhere in our body. Is alcohol a cancer-producing substance?
Mm.
It is. And we're making alcohol in our gut. That's
Through plants.
a fermentation of plants and protein. See, that's why a lean meat diet is not good for us. Rare, raw, fatty meat. I see too many carnivores cutting the fat away, which is not good for us. You must eat the fat to be truly healthy.
You'll feel the effects, because I did that. I ate too lean because at the start I struggled digesting fat, and I was on these enzymes for so long. So I tried to avoid the fat, but I had issues popping up, but your body gets used to it. Your body gets used to that. The more fat, the better. Now I crave the fat. I crave it.
And yeah, so many people, gee, I'm not getting better on this. If you look at Pottinger's cats, cooked meat, pasteurized milk is deadly for cats, raw meat, raw milk, and I bet the same thing goes with humans. We're cooking our food too much. You want it maybe black and blue or raw. I love dry aged raw meat. That's one of the best things I can eat.
Mm-hmm. Blue steaks are where I'm at too.
Oh, yeah.
A bit, crisp it up on the outside, but sometimes I like it when it's nice and cold on the inside.
Yeah, I take frozen meat, put it in the air fryer, and I know Michaela Peterson does that.
That's right.
It's the secret.
It's the secret. It's the perfect way to have your steak.
Mineral consultant taught me about hormones. Morley Robbins. Kathleen Lamb is commenting on KMT. Jackie Brown, hello from Montreal. Food Freedom. Ileana Z. Let's see, who else we got? Irene Matichka. Awesome. Michael Drum, thank you for stopping in. Chris S., Daniel Condon, Harry Brayton, and Leon Gravasande. Any other questions here?
We do. Does Scotty eat any meats or grass-fed?
So my body is quite sensitive, and if I have grain-fed meat, I don't feel good afterwards. Even if the butcher pretends and he's like, it's grass-fed, sells it to me, I eat it, I have stomach issues, I feel like crap. I'm like, that was not grass-fed. My body tells me straight away. So I eat fatty red meat, and that's 99% beef. I'll have lamb every now and again, but chicken doesn't sit well with me. Pork doesn't sit. Any bird or monogastric animal does not sit well with me, because most of the time they're eating foods that are appropriate for their species as well. Corn and soy is a part of their diet, and we're absorbing that. We are what the food that those animals are eating as well. So that's where I find a good, reliable source of grass-fed, grass-finished beef, and beautiful.
Rahman says homogenized milk is bad. Yeah, I agree with that. Let's see. How do we get used to eating raw meat?
Edge yourself into it. I was a medium rare guy, then I was a rare guy, and now I'm a blue guy. And now when I'm cooking my steak, I'll literally chop off bits of raw meat and chew on it before, because the flavor is incredible. You won't go back. If you have a blue steak, you will not go back. You will not go back.
Why do I feel not as aggressive or like a man? Is it my T levels will drop lower in my carbs? What is this caused by? I mean, plants are just poisonous for humans, and they contain phytoestrogens, androgens, and progestins. I just think they're not good for us, but we feel so much better on carnivore. And by the way, 50,000 years ago, were you waiting for the person with the cooking utensils, or were you just eating that meat raw? You better believe it. And I always say lions that don't eat meat become meat.
Yeah.
And raw meat, there's only one place for your food. It's your fat. You eat food to make fat. If you cannot make fat, you're dead. And obesity and fat is the cause of no disease, none whatsoever. The cause of disease is a plant-based, low animal fat diet. And that's just really crazy simple, is it not?
What's in regards to that, Kilt, you eat once a day, right? Is it once a day?
Typically 1 meal a day. If I'm a snack, it might be a little butter, raw butter, and my steak is black and blue, if not raw.
Mm.
And I found I don't eat as like I'm not like, oh, you got to eat more. I eat till I'm full and I'm done. I move on.
Yeah. See, I got told when I first started in the carnivore space that you need to eat as much as you can. So I was quite literally twice a day having 800-gram steaks, these monsters, and I could destroy it, but I felt like crap afterwards. And I noticed I was putting on more fat because I was eating like definitely past my fair share. And I've now cut that in half. I'm having usually 2 meals a day, sitting around that 350-gram sort of mark, usually a nice big fatty ribeye. Yeah, that's
I do a fistful of food a day on average. It's a lot of fat, twice the calories, whatever that is. And it has the fat has more minerals and vitamins and building blocks for your body. Adipose tissue is the most important thing to carry into a famine. Or hibernation or nesting or migration. Basically we've demonized fat, and obesity we've demonized when it is actually the hero of the world.
So what do you think about these carnivores that are trying to get to like 7% body fat on a carnivore diet and stuff like that?
Well, hopefully they're lucky enough that 7% carries them through the next nuclear war. or the viral contamination of the world or something, right? I mean, again, the universe has lived through a multitude of famines, war, disease, right? Natural disasters. Natural disaster. Is there any such thing as a natural disaster, or it's just nature doing its thing?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. So ultimately, there is no true right BMI. It just depends on what's the future holds.
Mm-hmm.
A bear that must hibernate and gestate for 6 months that has 7% body fat might be dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of their hyperphagic time, when they're meant to gain a shitload of weight, they better have a lot of weight in. I don't know what the true number is, their total fat, but it's a lot. And I think when you try to be skinny, what is the universe going to do for you? Make you fat. So the whole guise of diets, I mean, for being skinny, that's our biggest problem in the world.
Yeah.
And all the women in the world are trying to be skinny. All of us, we're all trying to be skinny, especially after we had babies.
Well, Occam's razor, simple answer is the one, but as you think, so shall it be. We're trying to be skinny.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's what we're gifted. Keep trying.
Keep trying.
We're going to be on that, right? When you love your body as it is, and you see the beauty of what you are, then everything and anything is possible. But as you fight, it will fight you back.
Yes. Yes. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I have another question here about ground beef. Can you eat, basically, is it okay to eat ground beef raw or no?
I do it all day long.
Yeah, it's fine. If you're getting a good source, there's nothing to worry about. I don't see, everyone's got their own means and all this sort of stuff. I don't see going to the mainstream supermarkets here in Australia, like your Woolworths or your Coles. I don't see that as an option for me, because I see that I can support regenerative farmers, or I can support my local butchers, and I trust the quality of meat and where they source their meat. So I've got no worries whatsoever that eating some raw ground beef would give any problems whatsoever.
And I enjoy grain finished, but it's right. It's a regenerative on the grasslands where it's provided, and not in a feedlot. And so think about it. The grasslands made a lot of seeds in the right time of year, didn't they? Did those animals eat the seeds? You better believe they did. So I think what we're really talking about is domesticated animals force-fed grains, which I think is not good. But I love the fattiest meat. Eve Medworth, I was told I have a mutation, APOA2, and can't take up fat in the diet, but am okay with fatty meat and butter. Well, the last time someone told me what I am or am not, I just walked away and said, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I don't believe any shit, right? The last I looked, like, when was the last time you, now remember, rendered fat is not our best friend. Raw fat is. So when we talk about eating fat, it's actually not rendered fat that you want to eat. So all this ideas of all these mutations, some of these mutations might be true in a predisposition, but they're not straightforward, truthful, in my opinion. What are your thoughts, Scotty?
Like it's interesting because I haven't really thought about that in that way, but I remember when I first started carnivore, rendered fat would just go straight through me. It would it didn't, I felt sick in the stomach when I would have like cooked fat because, it would accumulate in the bottom of the pan. I'd pour that on my steak and I'd have that rendered fat. And it's interesting just thinking about this now, but then like when I would get a spoonful of butter and I could keep going and keep going and it wouldn't go through me at all. And it was cold in the fridge, still in a solid state. But so I haven't really thought about it until you said that. That's so interesting.
Yeah, and that's why I see cooked. That's why Pottinger's cats make sense. When you cook something, you heat it up, you denature the DNA, the amino acids, the fatty acids. You change their natural normal structure. There is no other organism that cooks their food, and so ultimately, cooking may be, in fact, not a good thing. Now, cooking, processing, fermenting, soaking plants enabled us to actually gain more nutrients from the plants, but not from animals. I think cooking animals made them worse. Cooking plants made them less toxic, but not non-toxic. Do you have any announcements, Alia,
Yeah, I do.
Meetup?
Oh my God, the meetup, it's in 2.5 weeks. I'm so excited. I'm flying to Tampa. And so many other people are also. So Tampa, February 7th, private Healing Humanity barbecue fundraiser at Dr. Kiltz's house. Tickets are still available. If you have any questions, please email me and I will call you and answer all your questions. Tickets are $750 for that, and that gets you to the meetup the next day. It's everything, covers everything, both days.
And the dinner at my house is unique because you're going to meet one-on-one every one of the amazing experts on carnivore, Avadia, Boz, SBG, Bella. Let's see, Lisa's going to be there.
Ferrigno.
Dr. Ferrigno's going to be there. Scott Everson's going to be there.
Dr. Kiltz is going to be there.
Well, maybe. Scotty.
I would love to come.
I'll be there in Australia on the 26th of April. Excited about that.
I can't wait to meet you, Dr. Kiltz.
Carnivore, what's it called?
Yes, Carnivore Collective. I believe that's it. We got to talk about Saturday real quick. So if you can't make the barbecue, that's A-okay. We are having the meetup starts at 8 a.m. It's going to be at the Sheraton Four Seasons right next to the Tampa airport. And then that's 8 to 11. And then we drive or walk over to Texas de Brazil. It's a few minutes away. And then lunch is from 12 to 2. and it's going to be awesome. And in the morning, we also have Dr. Boz. So all the people that Dr. Kilt says, plus Dr. Boz will be there in the morning, and Texas de Brazil with us. So it kind of like blew up into this thing. There's only 24 tickets left for Texas de Brazil. The first up to 100 went really fast, and I convinced Texas de Brazil to give us another 50, and we only have 24 left. So make sure you get them, because you're going to regret it if you don't. That's all I have to say.
And the beauty is you're meeting other human beings that have gone onto a proper human diet, which is carnivore. And okay, if you have a cookie, cake, or ice cream or a bite of fries infrequently, I don't chastise you. I'm a minimizer. I'm capable of not, and I bet everyone is, when they stop calling themselves addicted or a food, dysfunctional. I don't know. I think we're just lied to, and it keeps us thinking we're meek and weak. We are powerful as anything in this world. Scotty, any last minute statements, comments, questions?
You know what? As you just mentioned before, when you meet people that are on the same level with the same experiences, like, because you can feel like such an outsider when I guess you can fall ill and unwell with chronic disease, whatever that may be. It can be a lonely journey. But then, say like we've got an event here. It's called Regenerate, and that's with Simon from How to Carnivore and Dr. Max Goldhain. And the first one I went to in Melbourne last year, 300 people, all on the same page. Most of them went through the same, like, you can just relate to everything that everyone was saying. And it was like, oh, this is okay. This is my family. And this is happening on a much larger scale than we can even imagine, but it's only until you see the mass amount of people in person that is an incredible experience, So I'm going to be emceeing Regenerate here in Australia, and that's coming up in the next couple of months, end of March. And we're going to have amazing speakers like Dr. Chafee, who I just talked about, Gary Fettke, Belinda Fettke. We're going to have some amazing speakers. So I'm really looking forward to that, to connect with all these like-minded people that are on the same journey.
We're healing humanity around the globe. And I want to just be thankful to everyone. All diseases, including plant-caused ovarian sickness, PCOS, is cured in like a month, 2 or 3 on carnivore. The plants are killing us. And I know it seems crazy. And fiber is deadly. I'm sure you have a statement about fiber. We didn't even talk about how good fiber is for the doctors and the drug dealers.
Oh, don't even get me started on fiber. They brainwashed me into having fiber capsules. These psyllium husk capsules that would just destroy my stomach,
Oh yeah, it's amazing. And so we need to be going to Germany, Australia,
South
England,
Africa,
North Africa, all around the globe, to share how Lions really is critical. And people from all over the globe, that's what we're doing, right? The carnivore healing journey. Embrace each and every one of us. That's the key. So grateful to everyone. I think I've got to go to the office.
I think you do. It's time.
Thank you so much, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Hey, Scotty, I love you, my friend. Thank you. And thank you to everyone for stopping in. And don't forget, share all of this crazy content.